Hello everyone, welcome to Sarah Be Too Good, where we learn to be too good to ourselves. I want to thank everyone for stopping by again to watch this video. I appreciate you guys so much for watching the videos. Thank you to those who have subscribed, to those of you that are still waiting. What you waiting for? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. But I appreciate you guys taking the time and stopping by and watch my videos that I do share. I do want you to share this video, anyone that comes to your mind. And again, don't forget to hit like, share, and subscribe. And so, again, on this channel, Sarah Be Too Good is a place where we learn to be too good to ourselves. And so I intentionally wait until I can hear a message, a words of encouragement to share. And a lot of times when I look at my own personal life, it's things that I am currently walking through or things that I have walked through. And instead of looking at the negative aspect of it, I choose to flip it and take it and talk about the positive of being in that situation. And so today I want to talk about, rejection, knowing the difference between being rejected versus being prepared. And so there is a difference. And so while we all want, for the most part, we all want to feel like we belong or we are connected to a body or group of people. And while that's fine and dandy, while God did not create us to be an island, to live this life where we're flying solo dolo. There are seasons in our lives that, He may require us to fly solo dolo, but not for the, duration of our entire lives. And so I just want to share, I want to encourage you to know the season that you're in your life. And while you may want to feel connected, you want to feel belong, but when you know the season that you're in, meaning that if you know that the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the God that I serve, if you know that God is preparing you for something that is to take place, if He's preparing you for something, then during that process, during that time of preparation, it may it may feel like rejection, but it's not. And so during times of preparation, you are intentionally pulled away from the crowd. You're intentionally pulled away from everyone else. And so being pulled away, no, you're not going to, keep up with the latest trends, keep up with the latest news, because you are preparing for something that God has called you to. Okay? And so during that time, during times of preparation, that's not rejection. Those are two different things. And so when someone is rejected, it is like you are intentionally being overlooked by others. It's an intentional act of others. A season of preparation, instead of you being intentionally overlooked, that is a situation or a season where God Himself has pulled you away to the side, and He is preparing you, working on some things in you for a future time. It could be a task or an assignment, a call, a purpose, anything that God has called for you to do. He will pull you away to work on that assignment. Okay? And so I want to reference the Bible story Esther. Most, if not, may be familiar with the story of Esther. And so Queen Vashti, in the book of Esther, Queen Vashti got dismissed and the king, we're going to call this king, King X. Okay, for short, King X. And so Queen Vashti disrespected the king. And so the king began to look for another queen to replace Queen Vashti. And so Queen Esther and so the king, sends out this declaration. It's like a model call. So the king sends out a model call like, hey, I'm looking for my wife. And so you have these women, these eligible women, these eligible virgins that showed up to the quote unquote, what you would call a model call or a queen call back then. And so they show up to this queen call, and they go through this process. And so during the process, a lot were eliminated. Okay. And so Esther made the cut. And so during this time of being processed, Esther, she completed the different phases during the queen call, during that time. And so during that time of preparing for whatever it is that the king requested, Esther, because this is before she was the queen. So Esther and, the other women, they had to prepare. They had to prepare their bodies. They had to go through a cleansing process. Not the cleansing process that we're familiar with, today, but they had to go through a specific cleansing process during that time, along with some other things. And so during that time that Esther is preparing, and she's going through each model of the queen call, she's shut off. She is totally shut off from the world that she once was a part of, that, when she received the queen call. And so that's a difference. And so I want to use that as an example. When Esther was going through the process, going through the different modules to see if she would be a suitable selection, a suitable queen for the king, Esther was pulled away from everyone else. She was pulled away from the general population. Her being pulled away from the general population as she is preparing, going through each module, going, through that queen call, that process is totally different from being rejected. And a lot of times, if we're not careful, we can take our moments of, going through the different modules of God preparing us for whatever it is that He's called us to do. If we're not careful, we'll call that time, or we'll confuse that time, we'll mislabel that time of preparedness with rejection. Being pulled away to prepare for an assignment that God has you working on, it's not the same thing as individuals intentionally rejecting you, intentionally ignoring you. Those are not, they're not the same. And so it is so important that we be honest with ourselves and really and sit with ourselves and acknowledge, like, where am I? And if you know that you are in your season, in a time of being prepared, where God has you working on a task, it could be working on the development of your character. It could be something that He has called you to do. It could be whatever He has called you to do, to prepare for. It is so important that we know the space, the time that we are in, so we do not confuse our seasons, our modules of preparedness with rejection. The two are not the same. Being prepared is an intentional act where God has pulled you away from the general population, versus reaction. It is the intentional act of others to exclude you for whatever reason. Those two are not the same. You guys, when God showed me that, it really, really blessed. It really, really blessed. It really blessed my heart, to know that. And so when we can process that we are in, when we're going through our modules of preparedness or whatever it is God has called us to do, when we can recognize the season that we're in, then we can dismiss the thoughts or the ideas of we're being rejected. And so when we don't have to hold that. We don't have to hold that badge of honor, or what would be labeled a badge of honor. Oh, I'm being rejected. No, you're not. You're not being rejected. You have been intentionally pulled away by God. So you can prepare yourself to do the task, to do the things that God has called you to do. And so I hope this message has blessed you as much as it has blessed me on today. I want you to share this video with at least 3 people that you know. The first 3 people that come to your mind, I want you to share this video with them. And don't forget to hit the like, share, and subscribe button. And until the next time, I'll see you. And don't forget, Sarah Be Too Good, where we learn to be too good to ourselves. I love you. And until the next time, I'll see you then.